Lead together, embrace change, enhance everyone's journey. The 3 core principles of SmartStop, a leader in self-storage real estate across North America, reinforce why we're proud to bring you SheEO Lead-In, the podcast featuring curated conversations with powerful women sharing their impactful wisdom. It's a self-knowledge, self-discovery, and self-preneurship audio storage vault created by and for women. SmartStop's presentation of SheEO Lead-In begins right now.
Have you ever felt that you as a woman may not appear to measure up when you see incredible women in strong roles? You may be surprised when hearing from women in these positions and how we all share many of the same challenges. Thank you for joining us for the SheEO Leading-In podcast with Rebecca Jones as we share the journeys of women.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Jones, your host of SheEO Lead-In. We are on an exploration together to discover more about the personal journeys of incredible women in both career and life. We all have paths to share that sometimes take incredible turns, deep resilience, and courage to navigate. My hopes are that the challenges shared here encourage women to take leaps of faith and growth when a journey feels too difficult or unachievable. There is great strength deep within each one of us. These stories are meant to share the ways strong women have taken their dreams to strive and thrive to new heights, despite their sometimes rocky paths, and found a way to lead in. Today we're here with Wendy Forkas, the CEO of Adjoin. How are you today, Wendy?
I am great. Thanks so much for having me.
Great. Well, let's talk a little bit about your job and your career. And what does a normal day look like for you?
Oh, a normal day is, unfortunately, nowadays, a lot of time in front of the computer with Zoom meetings and email.
Yes.
But I do get to meet with a lot of people. And most of the time I don't have a lot of downtime. It's just interacting with different levels of staff, but we have multiple offices throughout the state. And so I end up, interacting with them a lot during the day. Mm-hmm. And just to be very honest, I get up in the morning and I work from home. That's the stuff I do before I get into the office, because when I get in the office, I'm completely focused on supporting the people around me. And then everybody goes home at around 5 and I stay for another hour and a half doing all the things I had on my list that didn't get done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always that, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about the company and all of the things that you're doing there. The great things.
Yeah, so Adjoin is an organization that has been here in the San Diego area for over 42 years. But we have offices throughout the state. So we have 10 different locations. We have 3 divisions. One division is our Catalyst division, and that division serves primarily adults, but we do serve some children who have developmental disabilities or autism. And then we also have a veterans division here that helps homeless or at-risk veterans to help them find permanent housing. And we provide those services here in San Diego and in Imperial County. And then we have our 3rd division, which is our newest division, which is called Path Now. And it is a online mobile web app that helps individuals, family members, care providers, professionals find services for people who have disabilities throughout California.
Nice. Now, is that something, are you at all affiliated with like 411 or 211? I mean, are you affiliated with them?
Yeah, we have our services listed in 211, and we get a lot of referrals for our veterans division through 211.
Great. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about you and your pre-career. Do you have a fun childhood memory that you want to share with us? Just to kind of break the ice a little bit.
Oh my gosh, a fun childhood memory. I don't know that I could pick one, but I will share with you one of the things I feel very fortunate to have had in my childhood. I grew up in a very, very small town called Findlay, California, and lived on 12 acres of land in a house that was over 100 years old. And so I got to myself and my sisters, we got to run free, literally.
Yeah.
Orchards, creeks, vineyards, just very fun to be able to just run about and do crazy things. But the one thing that generally people are kind of fascinated when I share this is that because our house was 100 years old, the thought was they were going to renovate, but they never got it fully renovated. So I grew up cooking on an old-fashioned wood-burning stove until I was in junior high. And I mean, stoking the fire, cutting wood. Yeah. So that's like, probably one of the fondest memories is something that most people would be like, you've got to be kidding me. But it was kind of cool to have a wood-burning stove and get to share that with people. A lot of people don't even have that experience or even know what I'm talking about.
I know what it is, but I've never cooked on one.
Yeah.
So do you ever go back?
I still have a sister that lives in the area, but the house has been torn down since because the people who purchased it, I think, probably intended to update it, but never did. And so they've torn it down. But, everything else is the same other than that, actually, now that I think about it, because I was there last year.
Okay.
And, so much of it looks very similar. Just the house isn't there, though.
I love that. And where's that located in Findlay is where?
It's in Lake County. Most people don't know where that is. So I always like to say it's east over the mountains from Calistoga, Napa Valley, St. Helena.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Very cool. So how long have you been doing your current job and career? Because I know the company's been around for 42 years, I think you said. And it did start in North County, but it's now down in like the Kearney Mesa area, right?
Yeah.
So when did you start that career, or have you done a few different things? I feel like a lot of people have done a few different things.
Yeah, well, my story actually is kind of full circle.
Okay.
So about a year and a half after I finished my graduate school courses, not my thesis. I waited till the very last day to finish my thesis. But I was lucky enough to get hired in Stockton, where I was, to start a 24-hour mobile crisis program to help assist individuals who are being transitioned out of the developmental centers into the community. And the organization was the organization I'm with today, but it was known as a career development program. And so I worked with that organization, grew in my responsibilities, and I was with the organization for about 15 years when I really felt I had plateaued in my position, and the CEO was not looking to retire anytime soon. So then I transitioned. And they fortunately relocated me down to San Diego, my family. I know, terrible to go from Central Valley to San Diego.
Oh, gosh.
I know, it was
really
hard,
tough,
but
really tough.
I sucked it up and I said, all right, I'm coming down. But then I ended up going to another organization here in San Diego that was similar, but did different services. And I worked there for about 9 years. And then I had an opportunity to have my first CEO position. And I was there for about a year. And then the CEO for this organization literally finally decided to step down. And so it gave me the opportunity to come back to the organization in May of 2019. So it was almost about 10 years between. Okay. And I've been back as the CEO now for a little over 6 years.
So how do you measure success and failure? Because I think sometimes if you go, well, that might have been a failure, however, I used it for good and it became a successful thing. Mm-hmm. Do you have any stories about that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably been so many. I'm just kind of thinking, in generality, broadly, I would say I was a COO for about 16 years before I had the opportunity to be a CEO. Mm-hmm. And obviously during that time, I interviewed for positions,
right?
But never had the opportunity to be chosen. Made it to the top two. So when you interview and you get that far, and you're not chosen and you don't get to take that step, your next career step, something that you've been working for a long time, you do view it as a failure. However, as the years progress and then you get to the point where you're looking back, that all prepared me for when the right opportunity came up, right? So I do see it as a failure, but every opportunity that I took to interview just made me stronger in my ability to interview and prepared me to actually get the job and to be a CEO.
And to be, like in the right time of your life too. And I think that, a lot of our listeners don't always connect the two. Sometimes it's just not the right time because maybe your kids are smaller and you can't put in that extra time. So I wanted to talk a little bit about balance, with your life, your home responsibilities, and then also with the career. I mean, I have felt many times, oh, I'm crushing it, I'm doing so well. And then there are moments where I go, oh my gosh, I'm the worst mother in the world. Because, a lot of times, we do have kids, I'm a mom, I know you are as well. But it can be tough at times. So why don't you share with us a little bit about the balance of your responsibilities with career versus home and what that looks like for you? Because I think every story is a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, now it's great because my daughters are older and are able to, live their lives to a certain extent. I won't go into details because I know we all have the stories of where children are at certain points in their life. But when I was first in the career, that was super challenging because we had so many offices. I did travel a lot, and I was on call, and I had that drive, right, where I wanted to take every opportunity I could. And so for me, how I found balance was really prioritizing when I got home that I fully focused on my children until they went to bed. And then I would work on anything I needed to work on. But I also was appreciative of working in nonprofits my entire career because I did have that luxury at times that you don't always get, where I never couldn't schedule around events that my children had. But then I will also tell you, and I've said this to other people who've asked me, I did miss some moments with my children, right, growing up because I wasn't at home or I did travel a lot. And I do look back and always think I could have done things a little differently. But then when I talk to my children now, my daughters, they're like, Mom, you're amazing. You did everything. I mean, I was the sport team parent, all of that.
Oh, that's fun, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think we're always tougher on ourselves.
Absolutely. Agreed.
But now it's very, I would say I'm balancing it for what I want. I could be better. As we were talking earlier about how many hours I put in during the week.
Yeah. So let's talk about barriers. What do you think the most significant barrier is in your career?
Oh, I would say, honestly, I think that for me, working in the nonprofit industry and being a female was obviously a barrier for me to be able to become a CEO sooner in my career.
I was wondering because you said there were several times where you had applied, but you didn't get it. Was it that was a problem during that time or that it was an issue and that it was a consideration?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, particularly with the organization I'm with now, I do think that was a barrier in the previous CEO in stepping down or moving on sooner. I do think that was a huge part of it. And then, interestingly enough, men usually got the position over me.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
But it's interesting though because I do look at those organizations and those individuals, and realized that it probably would have been very, very challenging for me working with the boards, because the boards tend to have been a lot of males, long-term board member.
Good old
who are
boys.
males. Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes I usually think things happen for a reason.
Agreed.
And I was not ready at those times to really be successful in them. So sometimes the universe works in mysterious ways. But if people ask me, I'm going to say, we work really hard in my industry to be able to be at the highest level position. It's changing, but yeah, definitely.
Sometimes I think we have to do the job 1,000 times better and just to be recognized at the same level.
Yes.
Which is it's like that in my career as well. So when you're leading men, do you experience that they have a problem with it sometimes or not so much? I mean, that might be a little bit different than actually competing for a job. Why don't you share with us what your thoughts are on that?
I think I think it varies to some extent. When I've been in positions where I've been supervising men, I actually have not had a great deal of resistance on occasion, right? But if you're really good at what you do, you can kind of help them move along. But I also, people give me a hard time. I'm 5'9" and I wear heels to work all the time. And I had so many people comment, and I'm like, when you walk into a room of males at work and your eye level, it is different. It is very different. But that's not why I wear the heels. I love them. They're so pretty and I like them. But it's true.
I find that interesting that anyone would say anything about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they do.
What do they say?
They're primarily males.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've had somebody just comment yeah, you have those heels and, you're tall already. And I had one, okay, this is right after the Barbie movie came out.
Oh, geez.
And I was at a get-together, let's just say that. And there's a gentleman, he's obviously, in my heels, I'm taller than them. And we're standing waiting for the restroom at a break. And he literally said, wow, you're always wearing those heels. You're always wearing them. Why, and you're already tall. And I just looked at him and I said, I like heels. I wear them all the time. Yes, I do. And then he made a comment about the Barbie movie. I'm not going to repeat it, but I thought it was so interesting because it's just sometimes not all men are like that.
No,
but you
agreed.
have those, there's just a few they become intimidated, I think. But I do think that I have worked with some amazing males in the different organizations I've been in. I've also worked with some that I feel have totally taken advantage or, utilized my strengths to benefit themselves. And unfortunately, I don't know that that's gender-based, but I think it's oftentimes not uncommon that people will take advantage of you. And I think when I was starting to come up in my career, it wasn't already where we are today, where there's a lot of strong female leaders, right? So I think that just set us up to be taken advantage of a little bit more. And when you tried to communicate or share some of your concerns, they weren't taken as seriously.
So let's pause that for just a moment and hear from our sponsor, take a SmartStop. Let's come right back to that.
SmartStop knows the winning connection is when we elevate success together. SmartStop Self Storage, a California company with nearly 200 properties and over 15 million square feet of rentable storage in the US and Canada, is committed to positively impacting the communities we serve on the national and local level. By aligning our core principles of leading together, embracing change, and enhancing everyone's journey with local initiatives focused on education, health, and social welfare, we all elevate together. Through financial and strategic partnerships with nonprofits and prestigious organizations such as Cloudcast Media, Arrow McLaren IndyCar, Breast Cancer Research Foundation, Wounded Warrior Project, USC Athletics, the Brampton Steelheads, MMA fighters and boxers, and other unique athletes, we aim to foster a sense of unity and pride within the communities we serve, creating a shared identity and generating a positive atmosphere. To learn more about our core values, our locations, and career opportunities, please visit us at smartstopselfstorage.com. SmartStop, elevating success together.
Do you think a man would ever have someone comment what their shoes they're wearing or what they're wearing, their suit or whatever? No, never.
No.
Never. I find it very interesting that anyone would make a comment about your shoes. I oftentimes wear high heels as well. I'm only 5'4", but I work in a man's world, and I find it interesting that I have people, men for the most part, saying to me, "Oh wow, that's a very bold pink suit you're wearing," and I'm thinking, yes, so. And I've actually had comments like, "Well, maybe you shouldn't wear pink," or that's kind of bright, and I'm thinking to myself, well, if you're not intimidated by me, and why would you be? Because I'm just someone here, contributing, doing my job, and always well prepared doing my job. I think, why would you even make a comment about what I'm wearing? Because a man would never say something to another man. Am I right?
Yeah, no, it's true.
It's very interesting. And then the intimidation in your case of being a tall, beautiful woman and wearing high heels. You wear high heels not for them, but it's for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think the disconnect is where men might not understand why you wear what you wear. I like to wear heels because they make me feel good too. Yeah. And I feel, comfortable, and I feel strong, and I love the way they look with clothing. I mean, I just feel like it's a fun thing. Mm-hmm. And why would someone try to change what I look like? It has nothing to do with what job I do.
Right.
I find that interesting. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about role models and mentors. Do you have any in your life that have really, kind of stamped on you who you are and helped you along?
Well, absolutely. Speaking of heels, my mom was the first one when I was in high school that I bought my first pair of heels, and some people commented on it, and I came home and she's just like, "You should be proud. You're tall. You look amazing in your heels. You should be proud and wear them. Just because you're tall doesn't mean you can't do things.
Right.
You should be proud of it."
Right.
And so she definitely was a great role model. There are a lot of things she told me that I share with other people, that I, in those times when you're struggling, you kind of go back to. One of the things that she said that I've told my daughters is, you can do anything you want to as long as you're willing to put the work in for it.
Yes.
So if somebody says you can't do it, you can.
I say, watch me.
Yeah, you have to just work for it. You can't expect it. You have to be willing to work for it.
Yep.
And then, the other thing was, we were talking about sometimes you don't get what you want, but there's a reason, and to not give up. That, things happen for a reason was one of her things that she said a lot too. And, back in when I was younger, my mom was a natural leader, and she in my small little town that I talked about, they only had baseball, and my older sister and her friend wanted to play, and they did. But then when they were better than the boys, the fathers of the other boys said they did this whole thing where the girls couldn't play in the baseball. So my mom said, fine. And she started a sugar and spice softball league for the girls. And I think that's really cool.
Yes. She was a trendsetter back then.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
She was just really was a role model. Yeah. And then I would say in my professional time, the two CEOs that I worked for, different reasons. They both had their strengths. They both had their weaknesses. One, because they gave me a lot of opportunity when I was younger in this career to really grow quickly and gain that responsibility. The second one, she was very strong, determined, and I learned a lot from watching her persevere and demand. That has helped me actually fight through some barriers I've had since being a CEO at where I'm at now. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Well, it sounds to me like your mother really helped you with those life lessons, I think, that you were able to apply. But would you have any advice for other young women on top of what you shared about your mother that might be lessons that you've learned that they can apply to their careers as well?
Yeah, I think the very first one, probably the one that I would say is the most important, is standing with your values. So knowing what your personal values are and standing strong with them. Don't feel like you have to not follow your values to get ahead. I think we all kind of get in those situations where we were faced with that. And that's probably the one I would say, just know and understand your values and stick with them.
And don't compromise.
Exactly.
Yes,
Because when you start to compromise, that's going to be something that will drive you into situations and probably within yourself that are not going to feel good.
Yep.
And I've had to make some tough decisions, and I wasn't sure if I made the right decision. But then in hindsight, I was like, and I literally said this at the one of them, I'm like, I have to. I can't work here with somebody who's not aligned with my personal values. And I'm so glad I did, even though it was super hard and I had to, there were consequences that weren't exactly amazing and wonderful for me and my family.
But again, it was a lesson.
But it
So
was.
it's good.
And yeah. And I would definitely say that. And then I think you don't always have to know everything. You really don't. And if you're authentic about it and are okay with that, you will go far. It's when you're not okay with that, you'll struggle. So I really think just being okay that you don't know everything, it's all right. You'll be fine. You'll work through it. And then the third is don't fear change. Don't get too comfy, because if you're not changing or trying something new or having something that's making you really uncomfortable, you're not growing. You're gonna be dissatisfied eventually. And
you always have to learn.
Yes.
And so change is inevitable because the learning part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I even tell my kids this. Your mom's going to be learning things until the day I die. My kids are older. They're 25 and 29. But some of the best advice that I ever received was, again, about the change and then learning, and you don't know everything. And that's okay, because even, I'm doing my job for quite a while. I learn new things because things are ever evolving because of that change. And so, if you're trying to ignore that or pretend like it's not happening, it's gonna bite you at some point for sure. So let's talk a little bit about your journey and what is coming up next for you, because there are so many things I think where you can, again, back to change. I mean, homeless and developmentally disabled folks. There are a lot of things that are changing. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Terry Campus of Life. And the only reason I bring them up is they're doing some great work in that space. But, and again, it's an evolution. There are so many things that we know now that we never knew that are, changing our lives. And, the fact that we have a lot of people that have disabilities. More are being diagnosed that maybe were falling through the cracks before. So why don't you talk a little bit about what that looks like for you?
Yeah, well, I do know Terry. And I think there's I actually was thinking about this not too long ago, that when I was younger, we didn't see a lot of individuals with disabilities because they were in institutional settings.
Yep.
And now we don't have those.
Right.
So now we are seeing, and I've been fortunate enough to be part of helping those people out of the institutions and having them integrated into the community. So I do think just in general, people are more aware of it, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And then on top of it, our system is not moving as fast as the changing needs of the people we support and serve. And with the number of individuals who are now being diagnosed with autism, the services that we've been providing, the models we've been providing, have not really been designed for people who have autism because they're not, their type of disability and how they interact with the environment is very different. And that's the biggest number of people that are coming into our systems now is individuals with autism. So to me, that's super exciting.
Yes, you're kind of in the groundbreaking part of it.
Yeah, because I learned through my experiences, I am somebody who has to have growth and development and change. I have started to realize that I'm also very forward thinking and embrace technology. So that is why we have Path Now in my organization. It is, technology and how we can use technology to improve and make things more efficient and effective for the system. But there are just so many other opportunities out there for the people in our, community that we serve for Adjoin. And, the with the homeless and the veterans, interestingly enough, we know that homelessness went down in San Diego.
It doesn't feel like it.
I know, but
Why is this?
Yeah,
that's a crazy part.
Is fascinating.
Yeah.
However, I do think there's still a lot of opportunities to improve and look at the gaps that are helping create the homeless, because that's definitely become very apparent to me since being back with this organization, that it is amazing to really understand how come so many of our veterans become homeless. And there are huge gaps between the time they end their service and when they end up at our door. And it's unfortunate, but there still needs to be a lot done there. So very, looking forward to seeing what we can do to help improve that so that we're not having so many individuals in the situation they are today.
And then helping them too, in my opinion, remembering that they still have purpose. Yeah. Because I think when you're in that structure of the military, it's so confined that you don't have a lot of time outside of that. And then once you get away from that structure, it's like, okay, now what? I mean, I think it really is that now what? And, even, back to our developmentally disabled, a lot of people that are autistic are very high functioning, but they don't know what that purpose is. And I've seen a lot of, when there's a focus on that, the finding what your purpose is and, keeping focused on that the outcomes are so much better. And whether that is with our military or with our autistic folks, no matter what, even our kids where they're, losing that, not knowing what's next, not having that purpose, I think is a big place where I believe that if we focus on that, we can win on pretty much every level, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's really on point. Absolutely. That's where people start to flounder, right? When they don't really understand what their purpose is and why they're here and what they're meant to do.
Yes.
And sometimes it does take time, and sometimes you have to have those ups and downs. At least that's what I tell my daughters.
Yeah.
Because they're of the generation, they feel like by 24 they should have a business and be successful because that's what they've seen on social media. And I'm like, you don't even know who you are yet, so don't even worry about it. But then it's the same though. You're absolutely right with people who have disabilities. they're just like in us. They just have maybe different challenges or different barriers. And I'll just share a quick story because these are things, this is why I do what I do. So we just started a new art expression program for our Catalyst division. And we had some of the first students who came to the program come and speak to our board a year ago. And one of I'm like chuckling because they're such characters, but they came in, they were speaking, and this one gentleman was sharing how he got into the program because his brother was in the program and his mom told him, you should just go because your brother's going. And he stood up in front of our board and he said, I didn't even know I was an artist, but I am. He actually is very good.
What a beautiful secret inside him.
And that's what he said. He goes, I didn't even know it. And you think about that, right? That he just never had the opportunity given to him to try to do art. And then when he had that opportunity, he was like, I'm really good at this. And I'm going to do my art and I'm going to continue to work on that and hopefully sell it, which is helping them find their purpose and giving them the opportunity to do that.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. And thank you for coming today and, telling us a little bit about what you do. And you're making a difference. That Catalyst program already changing lives and helping people find that purpose and who they are. I love it. Anyway, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
Now that was powerful. We hope you've been lifted and encouraged by today's inspiring voice. Always remember that life doesn't look exactly the same for each one of us. Never stop dreaming, striving, and thriving. In future episodes, we look forward to bringing you powerful stories from amazing women who learned how to lead in to challenges. Thank you for listening and being part of our community with SheEO host, Rebecca Jones.
The incredible curated SheEO conversation you just enjoyed was brought to you by SmartStop, a leader in self-storage real estate and a company that upholds its core principles of leading together, embracing change, and enhancing everyone's journey. To learn more about SmartStop, please visit smartstopselfstorage.com.
Cloudcast Media.